So everything in case of a web service is basically a resource. So resource is like where we can request some information and get the response of that information. So as we just discussed about a different CRUD operations that can be performed on any particular resource, right? Like over here, if you look at this image, like over here, employees and department, right, and the data that is inside the employees in ID, name columns, then the department ID and name. So all these things that you see over here are basically resources, right? So these are different resources, and the data, the CRUD operations will be performed on a protocol that is HTTP. So via HTTP, we're gonna perform the communication with these resources with the help of something called as URI. Now URI is nothing. This is basically a URL itself. So over here you can see there are different examples of URI in which this is up till .com is the base URL that we refer to, and then employees is basically the end point of this URI. Right over here, examples.com is the base URL, and or you can call it as a base URI, and employees \10 is basically the end point. Right. So here we are fetching the information of employees with the record. It could be an ID 10. And if we are saying employees, then here we are fetching the information of all the employees. Right. So whenever we are getting something, if you look at the next slide, then get is basically like one of the read CRUD operation, right? Whenever we want to read something, we send the HTTP method as get. Similarly, when we are creating a request, like we want to create a user into that particular employee table, or we want to add a department, then it will be a post request. And whenever we are updating the data into the table, we are updating any record into the table, then it will be a put request. And similarly, in case you want to delete any employee from a particular table, then it will be a delete request. So these are the requests which are basically sent over the HTTP, and these are available HTTP methods: get, post, put, delete. Then there is something called as patch, right? These are some 99% of the time these methods are being used. Then there are other methods as well which we're gonna talk about, but mostly you're gonna see that we will be practically using these methods itself while sending or sending any request for any of the particular CRUD operation. Now, if in case you want to understand these CRUD operation more in depth, although we're gonna practically look at it, but this is very important. I mean, if you look at this particular slide, where this part that you see over here is basically a URI, right? If we are like sending a get request on this particular URL or a URI, it will actually gonna return us all the list of employees. Whereas if I want a employee with a particular ID, like ID 10, then again I'll gonna forward the get request. Same way, if I change the like HTTP method to delete, then it will actually gonna delete this particular employee with the ID 10. Right. Same way, we have post, where in case we are sending the same URI, right? That is the employees URI, and plus we are adding the data of a new employee. So whenever we want to create something, we're going to send the post request. And put is for any data to be changed. In case for this particular ID, employee ID, I want to update his name or any particular record. So for this particular ID, we're gonna send the put request, right? So these are couple of things which we gonna practically see once we'll start with the API testing or the API automation part. All right.